We are just one day away from the much anticipated 2024 presidential election. Tomorrow, Sri Lankans will head to the polling centres to elect their new president. Now, this is the first ever election in Sri Lanka after it went into an economic crisis in 2022 and defaulted on servicing its external debt. Good morning and welcome to the Breakfast Rundown with me, Zulfick Farzan. Now let's dive into the details. Well, the transportation of ballot boxes and officials to polling stations for the 2024 presidential election got underway early this morning. Now, Election Commissioner General Saman Sriratnayaka announced that ballot boxes and staff will be dispatched to a total of 13,421 centres across the country. Now, to facilitate this process, 1,234 issuing centres have also been established. Now, Ratnayaka also noted that over 150,000 government officials have been deployed for election duties at these polling stations. Now, in addition, nearly 1,000 officials, including chief counting officers, have been sent to the provinces outside of Colombo and several other districts, including Colombo and its adjacent districts, to ensure a smooth election operation. Now, in addition, Sri Lanka Police has said that a special security measure will also be in place for the transportation of ballot boxes and officials. Police media spokesperson DIG and Attorney at Law Nihal Taldua confirmed that a special traffic plan has been implemented around the polling stations to ensure safety and order. Now, voting for the 2024 presidential election will take place tomorrow, the 21st of September. Now, the voting will commence at 7 a.m. and will conclude at 4 p.m. Now, a total of 17,140,354 eligible voters will cast their ballot to choose their new president from among 38 candidates who are running for the topmost position in the country. Now, the Department of Postal Services has announced that voters now can collect their official polling cards for the 2024 presidential election from the nearest post office. Now, over the past 2 weeks, the Department of Post hand delivered the polling cards to the eligible voters, and those who have not yet received the polling cards can obtain these polling cards from the nearest post office. Now, Senior Deputy Postmaster General Rajitha Ranasinghe confirmed that the service of issuing polling cards to those who did not receive them will take place today and tomorrow as well. Now, voters can obtain their official polling card between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. today and tomorrow as well after verifying their identity. Now, this initiative aims to enable all eligible voters to ensure that they also take part in the electoral process with the necessary documentation. Now, at the same time, the Election Commission has clarified that voters still can exercise their franchise without an official polling card if they produce a valid identification card. Now, in a development that took place yesterday, 9 government officials in the Hambantota district have been banned from participating in the election duties following complaints of their involvement in promoting political parties. The Hambantota district election officer MP Sumana Sekara confirmed that the individuals include teachers, principals and public inspectors, that's public health inspectors. Sumana Sekara also noted that complaints have been received regarding 10 other government officials, and the Election Commission has been informed about these officials as well. Now, the Election Commission has reiterated that they have the importance of impartiality among government officials engaged in election duties. In a statement, the Commission emphasized that public officials should maintain cordial relations with voters, candidates and their authorized representatives as well. Now, the Commission has instructed all government officials engaged in election duties to be kind and patient in their interactions and to work efficiently to foster mutual respect. It stressed the need for officials to perform their duties with utmost care, ensuring that voters can cast their ballots free and fairly according to their conscience. Now, many people are eligible to vote for this year's presidential election, and their polling stations are located outside of the districts that they're currently based in, especially those who are engaged in employment in financial hubs like Colombo. Now, Sri Lankan transport authorities have announced that special transportation services will be in operation today to facilitate voters traveling to their villages for the presidential election. The Sri Lanka Transport Board confirmed that additional bus services will be made available throughout the day. Now, in addition, the National Transport Commission has coordinated with the provincial authorities to run extra buses, ensuring that voters have ample transportation options. The Department of Railways has also introduced a special train service that will operate between Colombo Fort and Kankasanture to support election duties. Now, you might be wondering, how am I going to exercise my franchise tomorrow? Well, the Election Commission and its officials held an important press conference yesterday to elaborate on what you should be in possession in order to exercise your franchise. Now, in order to vote, you must be in possession of the polling card. However, there is no issue if you still have not received the polling card if you have a valid identity. These include the NIC, a valid passport, valid driving license, public service retirement ID, the old one and the EID, senior citizens ID, clergy ID cards, NIC issued by the Department of Registrations for photo information confirmation, then the temporary ID issued by the Election Commission, as well as the ID issued by the Commission for Candidates. Now, in addition, who is allowed to enter the polling center? Only presidential candidates, polling agents, authorized representatives of the candidates, local representatives, polling agents and observers, police officers on duty, and other officials given permission by the Election Commission can enter the premises. Now, the Election Commission yesterday in its press conference said that for the first time they're experiencing the possibility of going for a second count. Now, regarding the second count, RML Ratnayaka, the chairman of the commission, said that this is a new process for the Election Commission. However, despite lacking the experience of that, they are committed to ensuring that the process proceeds smoothly without any hindrance, and it is expected to take less time than counting the original votes. Now, the Election Commission has said that the complete counting process and the announcing of results will be completed by the 22nd of September, that's on Sunday. Now, for any election, a key component are election monitors. Now, a total of 116 representatives from various international election observation organizations are in Sri Lanka to monitor the 2024 presidential election. Now, among the observers, 78 are from the European Union, making a substantial contingent from the EU election observation mission in the country. Now, additionally, 22 representatives from the Commonwealth are also in Sri Lanka to engage in monitoring activities. The Asian Election Observers Network has sent 9 observers, while 7 representatives from SAARC are in Sri Lanka to join with the other election observers and monitor the process of the election. Now, they will be in Sri Lanka even after the election concludes and will provide reports to the Election Commission on how the monitoring process took place. Now, these international observers will be deployed to all districts in the country to engage in their monitoring activities. Now, the Election Commission has assured that all necessary measures have been taken to ensure the safety and the security of all these observers actually, with the local police also being informed of their presence in the respective localities. Now, last evening, international election observers who are in Sri Lanka also held a press conference in Colombo. Let's have a listen to what they had to say.
And it's our practice these days that when there is any important election, we invite the friendly countries, election commissions or election authorities of the friendly countries to come and observe the elections and give our reports, our recommendations or our observations. So on this practice, we have come here and we are going to different places of Sri Lanka, including Jaffna, Trincomalee, and many other places, and one will be in Colombo. We will be monitoring different polling stations around the different places of the country, and our main aim is to see how the organized election is going on, how it is practiced within the laws and within the rules and regulations, and freedom of to see the freedom of voting is available to everybody in the country over the age of 18 years, and whether there is any unauthorized or unadvisable influence going on in anywhere, and whether the peaceful election is conducted here. So I wish that a very productive and very successful election will go on, and everybody who are eligible to vote in the elections will go and vote on their own choice without listening or without any influence of any other party. And it's a very important role that the media has to play, that the media, like observers, like the international observers and the local observers and other observation teams, media also has to provide a very fair and very true picture of the activities going on there in the day of the elections, or before the elections, or after the elections. Every one of us has a moral obligation that we should be fair and we should not do anything against the rules and regulations of the elections of Sri Lanka.
Yesterday, Sri Lankan authorities reached a benchmark with regard to its debt restructuring efforts. Now, to give you a background about this, in 2022, Sri Lanka announced that it would default on servicing its external debt, and thereafter entered into an extended fund facility with the International Monetary Fund for a 48-month period for around a bailout package of approximately $3 billion. Now, Sri Lanka has already received several tranches, and the third review of the program is expected to take place after the presidential election. Now, that was also confirmed by the International Monetary Fund, who announced that the third review will take place after the presidential election to monitor the progress that Sri Lanka had made with regard to the objectives in the program. Now, one part of this program is also to secure debt restructuring agreements with creditors. Yesterday, Sri Lankan authorities announced that it reached agreements in principles for approximately $17.5 billion of external commercial debt as of December 2023. Now, the agreements were reached with holders of its international sovereign bonds following negotiations with the ad hoc group of bondholders, a representative of local investors known as the Local Consortium of Sri Lanka, as well as the China Development Bank. Now, collectively, the ad hoc group of bondholders and the Local Consortium of Sri Lanka hold in excess of 50% of the bonds issued. Now, under the agreements in principle, holders of these bonds will be consenting to a present a value concession of 40.3% in the baseline scenario, according to the President's Media Division, calculated with a discount factor of 11%. Now, at the same time, Sri Lanka also announced that it has finalized agreements in principle with the China Development Bank on key financial terms of the restructuring of approximately $3.3 billion US dollars in sovereign debt. Now, the agreements in principle with the group, that's the ad hoc group of bondholders, the local consortium of Sri Lanka and the China Development Bank, were approved by the Cabinet of Ministers yesterday, and it almost completes Sri Lanka's sovereign debt restructuring exercise as agreed under Sri Lanka's IMF supported program to restore debt sustainability. And with that, we wrap up this morning's edition of the Breakfast Rundown with me, Zulfick Farzan. So I will meet you again next Monday, and on next Monday we will have details of who is the new president of Sri Lanka following the conclusion of the 2024 presidential election that will take place tomorrow. Until I meet you again next week, take care and stay safe.